Guys, I keep trying to avoid it, but Matthew Stafford and his camp and everything going on with the Rams, it just keeps coming up. More Matthew Stafford news updates, more Aaron Rodgers updates. We have a lot to get into on today's episode. We're also going to discuss what the Rams are comfortable with at quarterback if it's not Matthew Stafford. We're going to talk about who that name is and what they're discussing, and we'll do a quick, short, brief mock draft Monday to talk about some mock draft picks I have in my mind, all on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua. Hey, don't remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, press that subscribe button. As 71.9% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not subscribed to the channel. So do me a favor, press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. And all week we've been talking about kind of similar things with Stafford and all that stuff, but there is a reason for it. There's a lot of craziness going on with that situation. But first, before we get into the Stafford news, we'll talk about something quarterback related, but not necessarily directly related to Stafford this time. Comfortable. I don't think I would describe myself as being comfortable with this situation, but you guys let me know how you guys feel. I've seen some comments mention this, but you guys really tell me how you feel on this story here. As report says, the Rams are comfortable with Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback. Yikes. No offense to Jimmy G and what he's got going on, but that's a backup quarterback in my opinion. And I know he's obviously a backup quarterback, can start games for you. I think Jimmy G can start games for the Rams. I don't think they should be comfortable with him starting the whole season for them. It's just not what I feel he is where he's at in his career. And maybe he proves me wrong, but I just don't think that's where he's at. I don't think the Rams should be comfortable. You guys let me know how you guys feel. I know some comments have said sign him. I think the Rams should sign him regardless of what happens with Matthew Stafford, just to have a guy who knows the playbook, who's a veteran quarterback, who's experienced. But overall, I don't think you should be comfortable with him starting at the quarterback position. But that's what the reports say. And the Athletic's Dana Rossini said, and she reported this week, that the Rams would be comfortable with Jimmy G as a quarterback and would feel good about him under center as a short-term bridge. Here's what I know. This is coming from Dana Rossini herself. The Rams are comfortable with Jimmy Garoppolo, so Jimmy will be a free agent. I expect them to sign Jimmy, Rossini said. I can tell you the Rams feel good about Jimmy Garoppolo. They do, and I don't think this is a leverage play. I don't think this is them daring Matthew to walk. They've seen enough from him in the offseason in practice to feel comfortable. Again, more yikes. Yeah, cool. Again, shout out to Jimmy G. He's a veteran quarterback who's experienced. He's been in the Super Bowl, whatever. But at this point in his career, even going back to last season alone with the Rams, I don't think he's shown to be a good enough quarterback for you to feel comfortable with him at quarterback going into the season. You're kind of signing yourself up for a little bit of disappointment. I think a lot of Rams fans are wanting to compete next year, wanting this team to succeed and build on what they did this past season. If you move on from Stafford and you move on from Kupp, you're already waving that off the table, right? You're already saying that that's not what's going to happen. We're not going to build on next year. We're starting kind of fresh. Jimmy G would be someone that's not necessarily starting fresh at quarterback because he's been in the room for you the last couple of years, but I still don't think it's something that is ideal for the Rams. I don't think it should make anyone comfortable, and I think they should move definitely in a different direction. Sign Jimmy G if you trade Matthew Stafford, but you should have a quarterback in place in front of Jimmy G, or maybe learning behind Jimmy G for a couple weeks if he's like a rookie quarterback, but I don't think you should be comfortable with him again at quarterback. We'll see what happens there. You guys let me know how you guys feel about that entire situation, as this is an interesting one here. Again, I know a lot of people are tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers and blah, blah, whatever, but according to the New York Daily News, shout out to Cameron DeSilva for this real quick, Aaron Rodgers wants to play in LA for the Rams, wants to play for the Rams, not in LA, wants to play for the Rams, and would bring Devante Adams with him to LA. I included this kind of big screenshot because if you look down here, Cameron DeSilva back February 18th tweeted just a week ago, tweeted soon, and it was Devante Adams with Aaron Rodgers in a Rams uniform, which actually they look pretty cool in, if you ask me. Yeah, man, that's what Aaron Rodgers wants. So we talked about this yesterday on yesterday's video, right? The Rams have hired a coach who used to be a quarterback's coach for the Green Bay Packers when Aaron Rodgers was quarterback for 4 seasons. That is 4 years of him being the quarterback's coach when the quarterback was Aaron Rodgers. So that's a pretty solid relationship if you ask me. And so the Rams bringing a guy like that in, it raises some eyebrows. It definitely perks your ears up and should. He's a Hall of Fame player who is not playing his best football the last couple of years or has not been playing his best football. He comes with a little bit of drama, comes with a little bit of negativity. I can't imagine any Rams fans being upset with seeing a Devante Adams and Aaron Rodgers combination to supplement the loss of a guy like Cooper Kupp and a guy like Matthew Stafford. It's weird to move on from 2 legends of your franchise to go into these 2 guys who are pretty close to being washed. I don't like calling anybody that, but pretty close to that point in their careers. So yeah, it's just weird, man. It's like an alternate reality we're living in. It doesn't even feel like it's real. Maybe concerning for some, maybe happy, exciting for others. Who knows? So you guys let me know how you guys feel about all this. Speaking of Matthew Stafford, though, specifically, and what his update is, well, Tom Brady has now contacted Matthew Stafford. And I said this a couple weeks ago, and man, sometimes you guys gotta trust me. That's why I tell you to subscribe to the channel. Because a lot of people look at me like I'm crazy. I'm just saying random stuff. And a couple weeks ago when the season ended, I told you guys, you might trade Matthew Stafford. You might want to think about moving on from Matthew Stafford. And if you are going to move on from Matthew Stafford, I said maybe Tom Brady and the Raiders might want to pick up the phone and get a guy like him. And the reason why is because I looked around the league and said, who really needs a quarterback? The Raiders do. And are they in a position to win right now? Probably not. But Tom Brady's in a position to say, hey, let me flex my power and as a part owner of the the Vegas Raiders, let me try to get a good big name quarterback to play in the first year with Pete Carroll, so we can see some success, so the fans can kind of believe in us and believe in what we're doing here in Vegas. Why not go after a guy like Matthew Stafford? And some people call me crazy for it. Here we go, right here. Tom Brady himself has contacted Matthew Stafford's camp about joining the Raiders. So let's see what the detailed updates are here. As it says, the Raiders have emerged as a potential landing spot for veteran quarterback Matthew Stafford, who has been given permission by the Rams to speak with other teams to gauge his market outside of Los Angeles. Raiders minority owner Tom Brady has been in contact with Stafford's camp about the possibility of the 37-year-old quarterback coming to Vegas, according to multiple NFL sources. So Tom Brady is kind of a model for quarterbacks, right? You want to go be a commentator? He's done that. You want to go be this still super famous, but also part owner of an NFL team? He's done it. So you can learn from him, I think, if you're Matthew Stafford. And so very intriguing. Very, very, very intriguing. You guys let me know how you guys are feeling about all this, because this is craziness. This almost feels like unreal at this point. And honestly, a lot of Rams fans want the Rams to win. I kind of would prefer they just kind of step back from all the drama and just trade Stafford, trade Kupp, if that's the move you're going to make. Send them to the Raiders, whatever. And then just kind of chill. Don't go after Aaron Rodgers and Devante Adams and the drama of that. Just give me Justin Fields. Let's chill out. Let's just stick to football and not be the whole Hollywood kind of dramatic team that LA teams tend to be all the time. I don't think we need that drama right now as Rams fans. You guys let me know how you guys feel about the situation right now, though. What would you prefer the Rams do? Trade, not trade? Who would you rather prefer they get at quarterback other than Aaron Rodgers? You guys let me know down in the comment section down below. We're going to move into the mock draft Monday, and we'll try to do this quick because I know these typically can take a long time. But I just kind of wanted to highlight my own mock draft that I did. Nothing really crazy. I'm not the biggest draft connoisseur. I'm not the best college film breakdown guy. But I watch a lot of guys who do what they do. And here's my mock draft that I came up with. Now, I only did 4 rounds because, honestly, once you get past the 3rd round, it's like the mock draft simulation's kind of broken. And the guys who fall to you sometimes aren't there. Like, for example, pick number 100 here on my draft board. Elijah Arroyo might not go all the way to 100 in the draft this year. But overall, kind of an interesting perspective. Look at some names. We'll take a breakdown of these guys. 26th pick, I had Jihad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. Pick number 90, we had Shamar Turner out of D-tackle out of Texas A&M. Elijah Arroyo, the Miami tight end, who's been kind of a popular name in draft circles. And then Ricky White, UNLV receiver, who had an incredible season a couple years ago, 1,300 yards. We'll talk about him and that draft pick as well. Just kind of, briefly kind of exploring different draft options. Now, Jihad Campbell, for example, I'm forgetting how to say his name. Jihad Campbell, for example, I don't necessarily think that he's going to be a first-round draft pick, but at the same time, I think the Rams need a linebacker. He's a good linebacker out of Alabama, has shown some instincts, even as a linebacker who probably shouldn't have been playing inside linebacker. He was actually more of like an edge rusher for a while, but he's shown the ability to learn and adapt to playing middle linebacker, inside linebacker. And so overall, you can maybe bring him in as an outside linebacker or as that inside linebacker, whichever one you prefer. I get you have the Jared Verses and the Braden Fisks of the world rushing the passer for you already, but Jihad Campbell has shown some ability to cover, some ability to stop the run, some ability to cover, stop the run, and diagnose plays. Honestly, in all honesty, he's really done a good job at Alabama of getting better at that side of things, and that wasn't really where he's comfortable at. So he's had a full season at inside linebacker, and so why not bring him into the NFL under the NFL coaching, the great defensive coaching of the Rams have been doing the last couple of years, and seeing if you can kind of get this guy to improve even more at the inside linebacker position. That's kind of where I would see that route going. I know a lot of Rams fans want to see the offensive picks here, But overall, I think it's important to really finalize this defense and really solidify them and make them a force to be reckoned with for the next couple of years. The 90th pick in the draft, Shamar Turner, a 6'4", I think, 300-pound guy. Maybe you make him gain a couple more pounds so he can be that big defensive stopping D tackle who can also rush the passer a little bit. I believe he had 4 sacks last season, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head. So overall, I think Shamar Turner would be an interesting name. But in general, rather than looking at the names I'm taking, I think you guys should look at the positions I'm taking and what we're looking for the Rams in terms of style of play. And that's kind of where I'm more intrigued with, not necessarily attached to any of these names. Just kind of want to see what the Rams could do with something like this. If you hit on both Campbell and Turner in the first round, second round, I think you would solidify that defense, make it an incredibly strong defense for years to come, a force to be reckoned with, where it doesn't even matter who your quarterback is. You got Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams, a decent offensive line. Give me Justin Fields, and let's run with it. And we can actually still compete with a team like that, in my opinion. That's kind of where I'm looking at. Elijah Royal would be a dream scenario at the 100th pick in the draft because you got a talented guy who's somehow fallen in the draft to the point of the 100th pick in the draft. He's just got some question marks. Not really the biggest guy. He's not really a good blocker at this point in time of his career, something he can probably learn, but he's more of a downfield kind of guy, a guy who can run the deep ball, who can catch the ball pretty effectively. And so overall, I think that'd be an interesting name to attach. Maybe you have him learn behind a Tyler Higbee, Colby Parkinson, kind of learn behind those two guys a little bit, maybe get some playing time here and there as a rookie, and seeing if he's ready. If he's not, hopefully learn, getting stronger, better blocker, all that good stuff over his first year of his career. You're talking about the 100th pick in the draft, so you're not expecting him to be a superstar stud, but you're hoping if you can hit on him, that'd be a great pick for you for the future. And then same thing with 126 pick Ricky White, a talented receiver, 1,300 yards a couple years ago, very, very talented out of UNLV. Interesting receiver who can actually play special teams as well, has that special teams experience, speedy guy, but he's 6'1", so it's like speedy, but not too at well, not quick, not laterally super great route running at this point in time of his career yet, but he has flashes. He's shown moments, a deep field kind of threat. I think a very interesting name, intriguing name for the Rams to attack after in the draft. So talented receiver that could play alongside a guy like Puka Nacua, in my opinion. That's it for my mock draft Monday of this week. Again, we're going to get better as we kind of keep going and start learning more and more and doing more research on all these guys. I promise you these mock drafts will get a little bit better. But you guys let me know. If you guys have any mock drafts you want to send in the comments below, let me know. I'll break them down. Maybe we'll talk about it on the next week's episode. We could do that stuff. I'm very interested in doing something like that. One thing we do every single episode, including the fans and what you guys are commenting, we do trivia of the day. Every single episode that I'm on, we're doing trivia of the day from just a trivia game, a card game that I found at a store for cheap. So if you guys want to play along, you can go ahead and play along on this week's episode. But I do want to today's episode. I don't know why I always say this week's. But I do want to talk about last trivia of the day first. And the last trivia of the day was, here's the question. We had, before relocating to its present home city of Washington, D.C., the Commanders franchise was based in what city? So that was a question we posed last episode. You guys can play along now if you guys want. If you guys maybe want to see if you can make this guess right now, go ahead and make your guesses. Let me know what you're thinking. Just think about it for a second. And we'll give a shout out to the person who did guess it in the comments. That was shout out to Floyd Zane 8420. Shout out to that name, by the way. He's played along before. They played along before, actually, on this channel. So we appreciate you, Floyd. He said Chicago ? The answer for the trivia question was not Chicago. Appreciate you playing, Floyd. And sometimes if you get it wrong, we'll still give you a shout out. That's what's pretty cool about us here at the Rams Digest playing this trivia game. I like that I just shout people out who've been playing. Floyd was the only one who answered the trivia question last episode, so we shouted him out. Chicago was not the answer, Floyd. The answer was Boston. The Washington Commanders actually originally used to play in Boston. Very, very interesting there. So, some trivia to learn if you guys haven't learned that yourselves. And last but not least, we can go over today's trivia of the day. Here is the question on today's trivia. The Electric Company was a nickname bestowed on the offensive line of what NFL team? So for those who have never played the trivia of the days here, I'm going to give you that question. You think about it. You give a comment right now. Don't Google it. Don't cheat. But give your guess right now below in the comments. I'll give you some multiple choice options in a second, but make your guesses now before multiple choice. Challenge yourself a little bit. The Electric Company was a nickname bestowed on the offensive line of what NFL team? The multiple choice options, we'll give you them here. Was it A, the Rams? Was it B, the Steelers? Was it C, the Buffalo Bills? Or was it D, the Washington Commanders? Or whatever other names they used to go by. Those are your multiple choice options. Again, it's Rams, Steelers, Bills, or Washington. Let me know what you guys are thinking down below in the comments with those multiple choice options. That's going to do it for me on today's episode. We'll definitely give you guys a shout out. I'm sorry, but that popped up. I don't know. I'll definitely give you guys a shout out if you guys get the answer correct, or even if you get it wrong sometimes. Like shout out to Floyd. They got it wrong, and we were able to still shout them out. So if sometimes you get it wrong, we'll shout you out. But if you get it right, we'll definitely shout you out on next episode. So give your trivia guesses down below. That's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I'm out.